Chilling tales for dark nights.
Want to make sure you never miss a Chilling Tales for Dark Nights video again? Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to turn on notifications.
This is a story told to me by my daddy about his dad, Julius Bentley, who worked as a conductor for the old Mid-Northern Railroad. My grandpa was the conductor on a train called the Highball Mail back in the 50s. It was a train that ran from Union City to a place called Riverville. The train consisted of a FP7 diesel and 2 cars, a baggage railway post office car with 3 doors and 5 windows on each side, with the 2 narrow doors being the mail doors and a wider door in the back being used for express shipments, specifically any parcel that could fit in a mail bag and a baggage passenger combined car that had one section that could hold 32 passengers and a section that was for their luggage and was painted in the Mid-Northern Railroad's tricolor scheme, with silver being on top, yellow in the middle, and red on the bottom. Now, the train made 1 round trip daily, Monday through Friday, and was non-stop both ways. Now, whenever the Highball Mail needed to pick up or drop off mail and packages at stations between Union City and Riverville, it did so on the fly, as it was called. As the train roared through the station, mail clerks would toss the mail bags out onto the platform, and when mail needed to be picked up, the bags would be mounted on hooks attached to poles, and as the train went by, one of the mail clerks would stick out this device called a catcher arm that would grab the mail bags and bring them inside. Now, one night back in early November 1957, my grandpa was late. My grandma Edna, waited and waited for him to come home. Now, eventually, my grandma called the Union City Mid-Northern Station and asked if Highball Mail had come in, but was told that it didn't. Now, fearing the worst, she called the president of the railroad, J.P. Van Horn. From what I told, old Van Horn told my grandma not to worry, that her husband was alive and well, and that his train had to make an unscheduled stop due to an incident on board, but didn't say what the incident was. Now, soon my grandpa came home, worn out and real disturbed, man. And my grandma had sat him down in his favorite chair while she fixed him a drink so she could tell, so he could tell her all about it. Now, after he had his drink, my grandpa loosened up a bit and told her the whole story. It had started out well enough. We left Union City right on time with a full load of passengers, mail, and packages. Now, when we got to Riverville, we let the passengers off, and the mail and express parcels were unloaded. Now, afterwards, we handed down the train over there to relay crew to have the train turn around and the engine refilled while the crew and I went on our lunch break. Now, when we returned, we picked up the train at the Riverville yard and brought the Highball Mail into the station. And I was confused when I saw that there was only one passenger to pick up. It was a Caucasian man in his early 30s with a black hat and overcoat and beat-up-looking suitcase who was overseeing the baggage handlers loading a coffin with a Railway Express agency tag on it into the baggage RPO car. The man got on and took a seat, and the man seemed to show no emotion and sat staring straight ahead. And I gave the engineer the all clear, and soon we were on our way though. Now, when I came by to collect the man's ticket, he nearly jumped when I asked him for it. And the man collected himself and handed me his ticket. Now, we made small talk, and I learned from the man that the coffin on board contained his wife, who had died of a mysterious illness, that he was accompanying her body back to Union City where the family lived, as that's where she wished to be buried. Still, the man showed no emotion as he told me this, and I gave him my condolences and went back to the conductor's compartment in the back of the car. And as I did, I found it odd how just emotionless the man was about his own wife. Dying, and he riding around with her in the coffin. But, at the same time, I didn't think too much of it. People take grief differently, Now, between Willisburg and Hickory, there was a tunnel that's 2 miles long. And as soon as the train entered the tunnel from the Willisburg side, of the lights in the car went off. Now, not long after that, I heard the man scream. And I got my flashlight and I made my way down the aisle of the car. And when I got there, the man was dead. His eyes was wide open in terror, and his windpipe had been crushed. Now, I waited till till we were out of the tunnel to pull the emergency cord. And when the train got up out the tunnel and the lights in the car came back on, I asked the 4 mail clerks if the lights had gone out in their car while they were in the tunnel, and they said that they did, but came back on when the train got up out the tunnel. And I then told them about the dead man in the combination car and went back to the conductor's compartment to call ahead to the station master in Hickory, about the situation and to send for the police and the ambulance. I then told the engineer that he'd need to make an unscheduled stop up there in Hickory and then send a message to the station master in Union City that the Highball Mail would be delayed due to the incident on board. Now, when we got into Hickory, the police and the ambulance men were waiting on the platform, and as the ambulance, men took the dead passenger away, the police questioned each member of the crew for nearly a whole hour before they let us continue on our trip to Union City. That ain't the worst part of it. Prior to our departure, the police opened the coffin, and inside there was a corpse of an attractive young woman. But on her face, something. I ain't never even thought something like this could ever be possible. That young girl was smiling. Smiling just as wide and with all her teeth showing and everything. All her toothlesses was showing. I ain't never seen nothing like it. That right there is a smile I ain't gonna never forget.
Chilling tales for dark nights.